Thank you and welcome everyone. Today's presentation is Walking Soccer Nova Scotia, navigating a new program that revitalizes physical and social engagement of seniors. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered today on sacred land that has been the site of human activity since time immemorial. We are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and we acknowledge them as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land. So during today's presentation, feel free to ask questions using the private confidential chat box addressed to Margot Redding, who you've just met. If you don't see it, use your mouse to hover near the bottom of the screen, and there should be a chat in the middle. You can click on that and it should pop up for you. Remember to press enter to send your messages to us. Your questions will only be seen by Margot, and we will get those, address those at the end of the session. Our audience today includes people living with dementia, people caring for someone with dementia, and people who just want to learn more. So a little bit about Walking Soccer Nova Scotia. It's an innovative sports program for seniors, a first of its kind in Canada, which has received 2 awards of recognition since its beginning in the fall of 2016 from the soccer and sports community. Walking Soccer is a modified social version of the game of soccer, aimed at keeping men and women over the age of 55 who are managing health changes and want to be physically active and social within their own communities. In today's session, we'll learn more about how this program has increased physical health and enhanced social interaction with the senior population in Nova Scotia. Being active and being socially engaged are 2 strategies backed by research that can help us reduce our risk of developing dementia and also to help contribute to our overall well-being. Walking Soccer is a good example of a community program that can help us meet these goals. So today's session will have a presentation from our guest speaker for about 20 to 30 minutes, followed by a question and answer period. So remember to post your questions in the chat line. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Dana Mills. Dana is a certified therapeutic recreational specialist who has 25 years experience working in the field of therapeutic recreation as a dedicated health and human service provider. She's worked with various populations across the lifespan in a variety of services across Canada. Her primary focus as a certified therapeutic recreation specialist has been using life skills facilitation and coaching as an intervention process for enhancing the potential of individuals. Dana is passionate about the importance of recreation, play, and leisure in enhancing the health and wellness of individuals and our communities. She's passionate about enhancing the quality of life of others and contributing to building healthier and better communities. Dana has extensive awareness and interest in how physical activity and human connections benefits positively our health and wellness as we age. Her own leisure lifestyle focuses on building connections with others through sports, volunteering, and being in nature with family and friends. So I'm going to turn it over to Dana.
All right, I think I'm on. You're okay? I'm checking to make sure. Yeah, everything's good?
You're great.
All right, perfect. All right, well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much. I really need to probably reword my my little bio that I think I gave to poor Linda to read today, but I am excited to be here. I guess I just want to remind people that I, due to this pandemic, this ongoing situation, I am presenting from my home environment today. And so as much as I've tried to make this an unpredictable environment, it is my home living space. And so fingers crossed that interruptions will be minimal or distractions. That being said, I have turned off all the things that I could think of that might go off during this presentation. So if something does happen, I apologize for that in advance. It is a PD day, and I do have a high schooler home with me, but he's assured me that he will stay quiet and take care of our fur baby. So I also have a dog named Cleo, and if she pops into the screen, I will do my best to scoot her away and have Nathan deal with her. So yeah, so I'm excited to be here to present this this to you all. This is the kind of learning objectives of what I hope you will walk away from this session understanding a little bit better. So I'm hoping that you will gain knowledge about, as learners, about a community leisure resource that offers a supportive space for adults age 55 and older to be physically active and socially engaged. I'm also hoping that I will have you increase your awareness of what walking soccer is as a leisure activity in connection to health and well-being for people living with dementia or people who are care partners. And the third kind of outcome that I'd like to see happen is that you walk away with the ability to identify that there are 3 positive benefits and positive effects of walking soccer as a leisure activity. So I'm just going to pause here because I've asked Marco to help me with sharing a video that can be found on our website. So this is the link to our website, and if you have any desire to go and visit it, I welcome you to do that. We are in the process of updating it, and hopefully once you see that, you'll see why.
Nova Scotia has one of the highest aging populations. They don't get out of their homes enough, aren't active, and they face social isolation. And so I had an idea.
Now, you ready?
Actually, I got the idea from a program in Europe, but we were the first in Canada.
Keep going.
Walking soccer is for people aged 55 and older who want to get socially and physically active. To get started, they'll need shoes, loose clothing, and a smile. We use indoor heated facilities, special balls that are lighter, small nets, and we only use about 1/3 of the field.
Game on.
There's no contact, and there's no shots above the knee. So it's not about competition, it's about getting out there and having fun. And now it's being implemented across Canada. We had one participant, he came in with a cane. Now he plays soccer. It makes me feel great. It's really exciting to be a part of. Walking soccer is more than just a sport, it's a community. My name's Nicole Simmons, and I like to keep people moving.
All right, so I'm assuming everything's good and I can continue talking and that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. So that was just a promotional video through the Change Makers program with the Nova Scotia government back in our early days. That was a video that we've been using to just showcase what exactly we're hoping our program will be like if you were to come and experience it. So as has been mentioned, I'm going to just kind of go over a couple of key things that I think is important that you will want to know about our association. So our official title is Walking Soccer Association of Nova Scotia, but we tend to just kind of call it Walking Soccer Nova Scotia.
Dana, you could just resume sharing your slides there so everyone can see them.
Sorry. Thank you for that. Everybody can see now?
Perfect.
Thank you, sorry. All right, so walking soccer is a modified social version of the game of soccer. It is definitely aimed at keeping adults over the age of 55, but they often want me to play and I'm not over the age of 55 yet. I'm getting closer. but I'm not there yet. And our focus is physical activity and engaging within their communities. So the best of it all is that it is supposed to be fun. So there you have it. So Nicole Simmons is who you saw in the video. And initially, Nicole established this as a co-op case study program that she developed when she was doing a placement in 2016 with the Capital Inter Soccer League here in Halifax. And Nicole came up with this idea after seeing information about it across in other parts of the world, and thought this would be a really neat program. So I am going to talk a little bit about the history and where we have been and where we are now and where we hope to be. But I thought I would just share with you the mission, the vision, and the values that we use as an association. So our mission is to lead the impact of positive aging by helping seniors who are isolated live healthy and social lifestyles, preventing the further onset and consequences of isolation in our seniors, and encourage physical health and prosperity in Nova Scotians. So the vision for our association is that we strive for a healthier, happier future for all Nova Scotians. And the values that we function under are integrity, transparency, innovation, partnership, impact, and safety. So when we think about integrity, we think about doing the right thing, having a positive experience on the field, playing good sportsmanship, that kind of stuff, following the rules, staying safe. Transparency, we share our information openly. Innovation, we try to be very creative. We look at people's strengths when they come into to register or to even view the program the first time. And we hope that we think differently when it comes to, in particular, the aging process across the lifespan. Partnership, we love building partnerships. So like this opportunity today, coming and speaking with you all, we enjoy creating a mutual respect with others that are like-minded and wanting to promote healthy lifestyles. Impact, we hope to make a difference, and we certainly have, and I'll talk a little bit about how many people we've served and the length of time that we've had people in the program, that kind of stuff in a little bit. And safety. So obviously there are risks when anybody participates in any type of activity. It doesn't necessarily matter what the activity is, but in particular, there would be risks that would be a part of this experience for people. And so we obviously try to ensure that everybody remains safe and make good choices when they're out on the field playing. So I'm going to move to my next slide. And this is my focus that I thought. So I'm sharing pictures over the course of the last 5 years in all the slides today. And so I thought what I would do is talk about where we have been and where we are now. And I'll maybe touch a little bit on where we are going from here. So we promote healthy living in older adults, managing a variety of chronic health issues. We are a senior-led association, and I'm using the word senior, but anybody who's an adult tends to be part of our association. Whether they're in the older adult stage or whether they're middle adulthood, or however you may want to define that. Currently, I think the World Health Organization has actually redefined the age groupings across the lifespan, and youth now go up to the age of 69, I think I hear. So that's exciting. But with regards to that, we try to be senior led, and initially when we started, we were a little bit not that way, but we are definitely moving in that direction now when we look at our current board of directors. So we are a registered society. We have an active board of directors. that are both stakeholders and participants of our program. As a program facilitator, so that's my role, I oversee aspects of program delivery. So in particular, in relation to participant assessment, program planning, I do intervention on the field and off the field. I do evaluations, and I'm the one who's sort of documenting our process so to date. Our coaching team is responsible for more of the skill development. So things like passing and receiving, dribbling, making good, easy turns during play. And they also oversee the gameplay so that it focuses recreational and low competition. But I'm not sure if anybody else out there plays a sport, but sport usually does involve competition. And so there are definitely, we see that come out, but I will talk a little bit about how we try to redirect that competition piece to be more focused around play and just being active. So that's exciting. So those are the key things is to know that we have coaches, and these coaches are experienced coaches that coach in lots of different community associations for sport. They are seniors themselves or older adults, although sometimes I wonder. And they offer a really neat mentorship opportunity with the participants that are coming. So players are definitely encouraged to know their own limits, and are definitely led in preventive stretches and exercises that will decrease any chance of injury. There is really no experience required to join us. Basically, it's just as Nicole mentions in that video, comfortable footwear, running shoes are recommended, and a smile certainly goes a long way. Now, currently, we're wearing masks sometimes when we enter and leave the building, but those smiles are still there. We know that because we experience that through the laughter we hear. When people are on the field currently, though, they don't have to wear a mask because they're participating in a physical activity, and we just try to encourage them to remain, physically distanced, not socially distanced. So we were established in September 2016, and we were actually a free program. And that was thanks to the Government of Canada grant, New Horizons for Seniors program. So since that time, though, that was sort of like a startup grant, and we have had various partnerships and have received lots of other grants that have helped sustain our program over the years. But in the winter of 2017, which was shortly after we started the program, we did introduce a registration fee for members. So today we continue to sustain ourselves through our membership and with our players. So like many other nonprofit-based groups and just the world in general, COVID-19 has definitely impacted our program. So in 2019, 2020, that was our season when this all started. And last season, 2020 and 2021, we were intermittent in terms of we were intermittent in our playing and our programming because of the provincial state of emergency and the public health restrictions. But we did our best to stay connected as a community. And one of the things I think continues to lead with us on a path of success is the fact that we are very community focused. And so even during those times, we tried to be creative, and I would circulate information about how to stay active, how to stay positive through this time. So we really focused on mental health and just encouraging people. And when we could get together, we put in those policies and protocols that would ensure safety for our participants, as well as for the community in which we play in. So we play in currently the BMO Soccer Center that's up just above the Canada Games Center here in Halifax. And we have a strong partnership with them. They are happy because we come in and use their space during the day, which is usually a downtime. And so if people are thinking about this program in other areas of the province, because we tend to work with people who are retired, they're more flexible in their time during the day. And so sometimes that's a benefit, because quite often fields are empty, and this would be a program that would be accessible and easy to kind of take and roll out in a new location. So with that being said, obviously we would love, because we are hoping to focus our attention on across Nova Scotia, we would love to expand the program and just involve more elements that we had originally in our startup of the program. But obviously, due to the response of what we have to do right now, all that got squashed, and we sort of were just kind of were in a let's protect kind of mode. So that being said, we've had a consistent group of players playing with us the last couple of years. And so what we've seen is a huge increase and improvement in their skill sets, which is awesome, because that I'm going to be talking about some of the benefits and effects of this program, but it's starting to cause some challenges, because we are recreational and we're there for fun, and folks should be on not that competition. And we're starting to see our players, because their skill sets are advancing, which is awesome, that they want to be challenged more. So we are really looking at regrouping and figuring out how can we offer new opportunities for new people to come in and start out where some of our players once were, and also maintain and help support our participants who are continuing to grow and develop in their interest in their passion of pursuing this activity. So we are non-profit, as I said, and we are volunteer based. So that also offers challenges, because we can only do so much as we try to move things forward. That being said, we have probably served over 100 adults in the Halifax area, and we have had people travel as far as Kennecott, Nova Scotia, to join us. So we are open to having people come and visit from all across the province. If you are traveling or you're in the area, we would love to see you, or if you're interested in talking to me further about how maybe you could help start up something like this, we would appreciate that connection as well. We have had people come to us also with various abilities, as well as various health concerns. So we've tried to adapt accordingly and accommodate and just really be a supportive environment for people to learn something new or to return to a past passion. So as was mentioned, over the last 5 years, we have received 2 awards, one from Soccer Nova Scotia. That happened in 2017, and we received the Innovative Project Award for that year. And the other was from Support for Sport. Again, that happened in 2017. And the award that we received that year was Sport That Makes a Difference Award. So our program has been recognized here provincially by our partners in the community with regards to sport as being an innovative program. We have had lots of media interest by local papers and TV stations. We also have videos made by the Nova Scotia government, which was the Changemakers video that I just shared. And at the end, if we have time, I might try to share the Healthy Aging Core Canada Impact Launch video, where we have a very small snippet in that video. So we'll see how it goes. If not, I will definitely provide that link to you. So what I want to just highlight quickly before moving on to my next slide is the key aspects of the program we really do focus on, and these were identified. So when we did an evaluation with our participants, these are the things that they said they are noticing that we focus on and that they appreciate and value. So things like stretching, we warm up and cool down. That's obviously to try to reduce any injury. So we're very focused on injury prevention. Rules, we have rules because most sports have rules that you need to play by. And so that ensures that the experience is safe, it's predictable, and there's some sort of an order that people can experience every week when they come to us. Experience, as I said, is not necessary, and everybody noted that we have people who have played long time ago in their past competitively at very high levels of soccer and lost the opportunity over time, or they fell out of the opportunity over time, and they're pursuing their passion, and now they've been reignited with that energy to be a part of this program, and they're loving it. We've also had people who have never kicked a ball, and we've had those people who've been spectators and cheering on their own family members, but have never done it themselves. So experience is not necessary, and that has been identified by our participants. We try to offer a really fun atmosphere, social opportunities as well. The group used to be able to meet together and hang out for coffee afterwards, and they would go off and do that. That was self-directed. They initiated that. And when we originally started, we did offer a lunch program and some educational opportunities as well. And those are things that we would love to be able to get back to once we see those restrictions change again. Obviously, there's lots of skill development, as I have highlighted, and people do feel that way. They feel like they improve over time. The focus is definitely, obviously everybody, nobody likes to practice those drills, but those drills are important with playing the game and learning. So there you have it. The other thing is there's lots of opportunity for people to move and just to remain physically active. There is a hint of friendly competition. There's always continued learning by everybody, even myself and the coaches. We are always learning. There is physical health benefits as well, obviously. We tend to try to mix up the teams so players don't play with the same people every week. They shuffle around and they get to make new friendships. And so building friendships and connections is really, really important. And definitely through COVID, we noticed that this group was able to maintain their bonds, and they are supportive of one another through this, through our community-based program. So the other thing that I think that's important before I move into my next slide is the improved self-image of our players. And that was something noted by our participants, that they really feel better about themselves because they're participating in this program. So as I said, those are things I just wanted to highlight. I'm just going to double check on my time. I think I'm doing okay. So I'm going to continue to my next slide. So why walking soccer? And what's the connection for adults living with dementia or care partners, or anybody who's just out there interested in learning about us and the program? Well, I think we can honestly say that leisure impacts well-being. The research is there, there's evidence out there. My whole profession is based on leisure as a recreation therapist. And I know my title is as long as a certified therapeutic recreation specialist, but in short, we just normally call ourselves recreation therapists. And so what I do know too is that there's no shortage of things to do that will occupy our time. But I think it's also fair to say that we all have a mix of old and new activities that help fill our days. But we sometimes, I think as a society, find it hard to measure the value of leisure in our lifestyles because we're very focused on work and production and being, contributing positively and showing outcomes and all that stuff. So whether you are a person who might be living with dementia, a care partner, or a healthcare provider, I'd like you to consider there quietly to yourself, or even in the chat room, you can discuss or put out your ideas. I'd like you to consider for a moment, what do you do to unwind? And I'm going to assume from my own professional experience and knowledge base, and that whatever you choose to unwind or to do to unwind, it's likely that you do it because you either like it or you probably love it. So it's a passion of yours. So when I like, one of the definitions I like for the word leisure is it means to enjoy oneself. So what I'd like you to think about too, as you're listening to me today, is can you say about others in your care circle that free time is being enjoyed? So what I'd like to promote here at this point is to say that walking soccer is a leisure choice. Sure, it can be seen as a sport and it can be seen as a physical, as exercise, but that is not how we approach walking soccer. It offers an active way to spend your time and spend your free time in particular. So when we have downtime, we know that engaging in a physical activity versus something sedentary can enhance our overall performance. It will improve our mental health and well-being. It actually impacts our health in a wider capacity as well. And importantly, it impacts our brain health. And walking soccer definitely offers a quality form of leisure that helps with things like psychological and cognitive well-being, our physical health, and overall quality of life. So as a recreation therapist, one role I hold is to advocate for all individuals to have the right to leisure. That means a starting point is to educate others that we must stop downplaying leisure and its importance in the human experience. So what we do at Walking Soccer is we offer a weekly opportunity to come and play. Play is an important part of human development, not just child development. So when was the last time you felt playful and made it a priority? Research does demonstrate that leisure impacts the network of neurons in our brains. These networks become stronger. Engaging in a physical activity is a strong promoter of the big word neuroplasticity. When we pursue leisure activities that engage us socially, physically, cognitively, our various areas of our brain are forced to work together to connect and then to grow in its resilience. Repetitive and routine leisure activity strengthens those brain pathways across the lifespan. And even if function begins to fade, there could be new functions that can be sustained. Physical activity, this is my next slide, sorry. Physical activity is central to optimal aging and brain health. And this is just a collection of great images over the course of the years. Some I think are a representation of just what we experience in a day-to-day, week-to-week, season-to-season, session-to-session experience with walking soccer. So I did highlight that I would speak to you with regards to the positives of this leisure activity. And so how I like, from my lens as a rec therapist, I tend to look at when I'm doing my kind of assessment with people and my evaluation with people, I look to see what are the benefits that they are experiencing and what are the effects of the activity. So common benefits that are associated to really any leisure activity, but in particular walking soccer, are social, skill development, experience education, emotional, there is positive health, productive, restorative relaxation, and self-discovery. So you learn things about yourself. And the productive part, I think, is interesting because because we are senior-led and we try to engage our participants to volunteer and be a part of our program, when you start to volunteer and are committed to something, you end up becoming very productive in kind of even promoting it and talking about it to others and that kind of thing. So quite often some people think, oh no, you're not productive when you're doing leisure, but you can be productive when you're doing leisure for sure. The effects of leisure activity are things like happiness, satisfaction, creativity, competition, learning, feeling free, positive attitude, and physical health. Oh, sorry, and well-being. So what was really cool is what we have been able to do is we have obviously been able to do some assessments and pre and post and ask people what they're hoping to benefit from and what effects they're hoping to experience when they're participating. So these are the benefits and effects that were reported most commonly by past participants that they anticipated would be positive outcomes of participating in walking soccer as a leisure activity. So things like being social, they're expecting that, and we try to offer that. Positive health, we try to do that too, and skill development. Those are the key things that they identify as being benefits that they were hoping to walk away from our program experiencing. The effects they were hoping to see were things like satisfaction, physical health, and well-being. Again, those were the things that I would think would be consistent in when you hear about what our program is offering. So the experienced positives that were reported after participating in the full season of our leisure activity of this walking soccer program were definitely all the benefits. We definitely hit all the benefits: social, positive health, and skill development. That was reported hands down, but there was a slight change to the effects that were experienced. And I always find this interesting when I look at it. So as you can see, satisfaction went from went to be more positive attitude. So this program definitely helps people establish a different mindset. And mindset is so important as we go through changes, as we go through the lifespan. And so I always find that fascinating when I look at this kind of result and see that, sure, people were hoping to walk away satisfied. That makes complete sense. But when it actually impacted their mind and what they thought about, either the activity itself, their own selves, the world that they're experiencing, it was nice to see that that was a positive and an unexpected effect that people experienced. So I'm just going to kind of wrap up my my slides by sharing some personal experience player testimonials over the years. So this was provided to us, and it says, this program is designed to meet people where they are at their own ability. It brings many people together for a great social experience. I felt the field was very encouraging space to be, just plain fun. And here's a second one. As skills developed, I noticed I became more motivated on the field and off. I developed at a great pace and appreciate constantly being encouraged to move. I am excited and wait with anticipation for each week getting together with the group because of the bonds I have made. And the final one that I wanted to share was this player's testimonial. Staff and coaching team are determined, experienced, empathetic, and passionate as mentors help players with their individual development. Much joy and happiness was expressed with lots of smiles and laughter each week. Getting out and being with others combated my loneliness. So before I wrap up and share some concluding thoughts, this is some of our, this slide just represents contact information of how you can reach me if you have further questions, both through, that's my cell phone, so you're welcome to connect with me that way, through text or through voice, if we can connect with one another. And also our email address is walkingsoccernovascotia@gmail.com. I really would welcome anybody today or anybody viewing this to please follow us on our Facebook page. That's currently the only social media kind of format that we are using. But that's not to say that things won't evolve over the course of the next few years as technical skills advance and technical interests change. And so that is our link for our Facebook page, and you will find information, kind of more current information usually is posted there. Our website is definitely in need of a bit of a touch up, I would say. So what I'd like to say is thank you very much for having me here today. I hope that what I have shared will encourage you to check in on your own attitude towards leisure. There is lots of evidence out there to suggest that those with active lifestyles experience less psychological distress, anxiety, depression, and hostility. Walking soccer is definitely a feel-good motivating sport, but it's more of a leisure activity. Where we play is indoors. It's at a heated soccer facility, but it stimulates actually an outdoor atmosphere because the field is large and open. This environment, it can be challenging at times, especially if people have hearing difficulties, but it actually encourages our players to pay closer attention and to focus so that they learn so they understand what they're supposed to be doing and learning through the process. So I hope that this presentation encourages you also to believe that what we do with our time really does matter. And maybe the next time you have space to fill in your day, you can think about what you are doing or those you serve or support are doing and why you're doing it. And maybe, just maybe, walking soccer could be something to consider to help you move, because physical activity, it never gets old. So I do want to let people know that we have 3 more weeks of our fall 2021 soccer session. We wrap up on December the 15th for a slight closure over the holiday weeks. And then our winter session is looking to start on January 5th, 2022. That session will be 10 weeks. For new registrants, the fee is $60. Payment can usually be made by check or cash. If there are ever financial insecurities, we welcome people to talk to us so we can figure out a way so that people can still become involved and participate. To attend, currently, just because of all the COVID practices, it's best to connect with me prior to arriving, just so that we can expect you. We have the paperwork completed so that it's a kind of minimal contact that we can have on the onset at the door when you come in. And I can explain the process a little bit better to you. So everything, as I said, is online for our registration process. It's been challenging, but we have been really successful in maintaining contact. So currently, I think we have 20 people registered in our walking soccer program, but we've had up to 50 in past years. So we're not doing too bad. Anyways, that's my end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Dana. What a great example of things in the community that people can do to stay physically and socially active. I loved the definition that leisure is play, and play is part of what we need to be a whole person. And we need to give ourselves permission that it's okay to do other things, especially for caregivers who have maybe a stressful day and all kinds of things that they need to get done. But if you don't stop and take care of yourself, and some of your needs, and do a little bit of play, you're missing out on meeting all your basic needs. So that's a great perspective to look at it. We have a couple questions. One from our audience is, and maybe you could address this, is they're talking from a community where their indoor field is out of commission, their turf is out of commission, and they're wondering, is it okay to start this up on a gymnasium floor, or would it be better to wait till the weather's better and take it outside? And maybe what your comments, you alluded to that a little earlier about whether it's an inside sport or an outside sport.
Well, around the world, so if you were to type in or Google walking soccer and not see what we do here in Nova Scotia, you will see it being played in different environments. And I think you just have to think about how you would adapt to the space that you're using to ensure, the biggest thing is fall risks, obviously. In any sport, and when you fall, you can have injuries to hips and knees and elbows and shoulders and everything. So we have thought about trying to go outdoors during like the summer months, but we've been fortunate that we have this wonderful space, and it helps us to be able to maintain ourselves inside. Right. There are places that offer it in a gymnasium setting, also in a rink that doesn't have ice in it, obviously, with boards so that the ball stays kind of contained. So you can see it in different formats. And you sort of sometimes have to adapt the play anyways, based on what your group looks like and how things are functioning. But what you could definitely, and I would be happy, or somebody on our board would be happy, coaches would be happy to chat with anybody who's interested in thinking outside the box of how the program can be, that's one of the things that we try to do is help think about that. And we've had lots of interest to start this, definitely, across the province. It's just been difficult to roll out just due to circumstances. So.
You made a key point earlier on that the partnerships with community groups that are all have the same values and focus of living well as we age. And often the spaces that are available aren't being used during the daytime, so the mornings might be an excellent time to work with the community space to do something like this.
Yeah, and one of the things I didn't really share in this, which just kind of triggers me now, is one of the outcomes that I know that Nicole initially thought about when she was starting her ideas and generating the concept of this particular program. She wanted to see people take it and then be able to do it on their own independently. And so we have such a keen group currently that they decided that, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to rent the field. And so they actually, there's a small group that have gone out. They're now going a second day. Some of them would go a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh day. They're functioning. They're playing a little differently, and that's okay because that's how they choose to do it. But our focus definitely still is that introduction and try to build community for sure. And so it's nice to see that is happening with our participants.
So the next question is about who would be ideal candidates. And we talked about, this is good for people over 55, could be good for people early stages living with dementia and caregivers for all the benefits that it does. You talked about, I don't know if it was in a video or you talked about a gentleman that came with a cane and his physical abilities improved so that he's not using the cane. So the question is, are there mobility criteria for anyone entering the program?
I guess it sort of depends on who would be facilitating it. So my skill set is that that's what I'm supposed to do, is look at how we can adapt it. I'm not sure how the field would work we haven't had anybody come in a wheelchair. We have had people who come with definite mobility challenges in terms of maybe they're not using a walker or a cane, but they're using, they're hesitant to be out there. So we often just find a different position for them to play, or we adapt it so that they can participate in a different way. So it really is a no experience. And we sort of, as soon as we see people come in, that's why I do a really thorough kind of a Q&A with people and find out what their abilities are. Because quite often we may have chronic health issues, and then we think because we're on a medication or or we're, doing physio, or we're doing rehab, or we're doing those things, that it's kind of dormant and you don't have to worry about it, but it definitely will, it can come up in your leisure pursuits, right? And impact that. So it's really important for me to have a good sense of where people are. So one of our coaches, for example, he's from Spain, Mexico. Sorry, Mexico. And he has a very thick Latin accent. And I know that we have some other people who use a hearing aid for being able to hear. And quite often I find myself going around to the group and just saying, did you understand what was said? Can you? And that's not, and it's not to anybody's fault. It's just, that's one of those things. But because it's such a physical sport, once you see what other people are doing, it's easy to imitate. So I don't really, I do think it can be for anybody. And it just really depends on your approach. And as long as you're going from an abilities point of view or perspective, you should be able to accommodate people and make things accessible.
So if someone has been inactive for a long time, what would be their first steps? Would you suggest they check with their family doctor before?
I would just double check. Most times though, I think doctors, we do have somebody who has a special device that, because they have heart issues, and we just monitor it. And that's the thing, right? Technology, everybody can come with things that'll help monitor their own health situation. So anytime he's feeling like he's pushing himself too far, you'll often see he just excuses himself from the field and he goes and sits down. We always check in with him, ask him, how you're feeling. So I don't know if I went off track there, but
so to check with your doctor before you start, like any exercise, anything, it's great to help with your well-being. It's always great to check with your doctor to make sure this is
and I would do that for sure. We definitely have people we focus on physical, like we do start with a warm-up, and we also start with we finish with a cool down. And so we look to see where people are, and we don't push people past where their limits are either. I mean, we try to maybe challenge a little bit. That's just because that's, we all need a little challenge in life, but not if it's a physical kind of restriction that we need to adhere to. We just adapt it, or we look at a different way that they can do the stretch or that kind of thing.
So we know physical health is important. So participating in this would increase your balance, reduce your risk of falls. Anything you want to say on that front about things that it does to improve your physical well-being?
So the things that it would be really ideal that we could do is to try to build some research into our work that we're doing. So I know that there's evidence out there, and there's research that definitely supports that, anytime you're involved in an activity, you are reaping lots of benefits from it. That being said, it's hard for me to say whether or not we have seen a reduce in people's experiences of having falls, even at home. But what I can say is that over the course of the last 5 years, we have probably in our current group, 7 players that started with us, and that if I showed you a video of when they started to where they are now, and they've aged through that process, they're more strong now than they were when they started, if that makes sense. Like, we can see that in the videos or the pictures that we take, or, because there's changes in people. But I don't have evidence to actually tell you, yes, we have done the research, we know for fact, but we can see it in the fact that we do have people who, have maintained coming. We have had people who've had to stop playing, whether it's because they're dealing with cancer and they just, something has to give. And so this is what has given for them. But that doesn't, and, we've had people who've had changes in their brain health as well. And we do our best to accommodate and keep people there. But sometimes what ends up happening is care partners worry and get stressed about people coming, and And so building better, I think, connections with those that are also supporting in the background, or maybe not supporting in the background, just so that they have a better understanding that I'm there and I'm offering, we are offering a safe spot, and we will do our best to keep their person safe.
Well, the quotes from the participants were certainly very positive, and people had certainly a better feeling about themselves and their motivation and their well-being. So we're running out of time. Thank you so much. This was a really interesting topic. You'll see a poll come up on your screen. For those of you on the call, if you just take a minute to respond to that poll. And just to wrap up here, I want to thank you, Dana, for all your support today and your presentation and letting us know about this program. It was a great example of a community program to keep people both physically engaged and socially engaged. We didn't even get time to go into all the social connections, but that looked, just the fact that they wanted to do it every single day, 3 days in a row, that was a good response. If anybody has any questions for us at the Alzheimer's Society, please call our 1-800-611-6345, and we will connect you up with a staff person that can help answer your questions or your concerns. Today's topic was recorded, and it will be available to share or to view again in the upcoming days. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. And thank you, and be safe and participate in leisure activities. Thank you.